Just gonna get this other bearing race in here now before I put it together. I put some penetration fluid around the bearing. I'll just hammer that home now. I'll grease this bearing up afterwards before I get it in place. I don't like to grease them before I'm ready or they get covered in dirt. So same as all the others, just using an old race to hit them in. Just get a pattern and there you go. She's bouncing there now. That's the punch, isn't it? Yep. You're ringing like a bell. Wipe whatever dirt is left in there. When you're doing something like this, if you want to do a good job of it, it's nearly endless cleaning. Dirt, and dirt comes off the hammer, dirt comes off all the tools, dirt just lands, people walk by things and dirt fly off their feet. Can't emphasize enough how much you need to be clean with this kind of stuff, because once this is together that dirt can't come out of there very easily. There's no filters or anything, it's just this reduction housing and the dirt that's in it and the oil, so you don't want to have any dirt in it. Still got some metal filings in here. I'll put the steam cleaner in this again. Grease it up again, just washing it. The thing is with this stuff, you can't be too clean. There's no such thing as too clean. You can only be not clean enough. Just putting grease in the bearings now. I know it won't have grease from then on in its life, but grease is quite good starter for taper all the bearings and hubs if they're oil ones or oil lubricated or grease lubricated. And then check some silicone sprayer where the rubber seal's going. I'll spray the seal there as well again, because I wiped the seal. Just put some on there. You don't want to have grease on these seals really. The grease attracts the dust, so I only put the silicone stuff on them. The factories fit them dry, but I don't know. They've lasted 10,000-12,000 hours on they dry. Why do I want to put anything on them? Try and see how this goes now. So we should put that arm and tracker then in to hold it up first. Put some copper grease on that tape for a minute. I'll get this hub on now. Turn it around, make sure the seals slid in all on. Sealing well there. It's not pulling off, it's just wobbling in the seal. So you can see all the grease on the bearing there. Spool shaft. I'll get this hub in place now. I need to press the bearing onto that as well. Pretty much same technique on this one again as everything else. These new bits look good with that on it. Spray the inside of this as well. Get it a bit easier. Just check which way around it's supposed to be. Put it on the wrong way around. Probably won't be the first time. It's easy enough to put them on the wrong way. Especially if you're just a bit impatient with them. Or impatient to do the job. I keep saying, if you're feeling impatient with a job, just leave it and go do something else. Come back when you're feeling a bit more up to it. Quite sure which side's going down. Bloody hell, I can't hear. Get something on my ears. I should really be supporting this on something else, like a block of wood or something against this, instead of banging this gear against this, but not being banged hard enough to do any damage to it. There you go. It's all covered in dirt now, but bearings pressed in all the way along that. I'll just go around it one more time. I can't see a gap, but may well be one. That's what I put on there. And just grease this bearing up as well before she goes in. I put the steam cleaner on it again just to clean the bearing out and clean all that dirt and dust stuff. So everything's going back together and spotlessly clean, really. It's the only standard of cleanliness there is for work like this, or should be anyway. I'll fill the base up with some, and I'll press the grease into the rollers when you push the bearing in. If I show you all the faffing about it, it will be about a 10-hour video. And these splines as well. For what purpose, I don't know. Check that the ring is on. Whack her in. It's a nice tight fit now. Push this back so that this one slides in properly. Give it a bit of a turn while pressing on the ring, just so that the grease beds in, so that the bearing goes all the way where it's supposed to. Now we've just got the big nut to go on there now. And this is still threading. I'm not putting any grease or anything on the thread, so this is clean, dry fit. Now this is the time I'm glad that I took the time to clean that up, the thread on the hub. You don't want to be in this stage struggling to get that nut on. It'd be a disaster. It's a large nut, isn't it? I don't have a socket that size. Well, I do, but I don't know if it's that size. I'll run up the road to go and get it. Doesn't look far off. Might be the right size. Ah, beauty. This was given to me by a neighbour a couple of years ago. It was for a lorry. I'm not sure if it was a Fulton or something, he said. But it's quite an old one. I have put the pressure washer in and I'm still getting bits of straw. I'll tighten it up tight. I'll see if the Carraro one says anything about the setting the bearing. So I'll just show you that page. I'll show you there. And that one like that. So if you want to have a look at these things, you can pause it. So that's the first I showed you, that's the second, and that's the photo above it. So you can pause the video if you want to have a look at that. Wheel bearing I want to see. Well, I couldn't see anything about the bearing, so that's the last page for you. Keep in mind this is Carraro axle, you see the 5 stud flange. The one I got's an 8 stud New Holland axle. So since I don't have a, what do you call it, an answer in the manual, and I don't have a figure of how much slop is supposed to be in the wheel bearing, I'll measure the pitch of the thread here, see how much step is in one winding. I can judge then how tight to make it. So make sure that this silly thing's going to 0. Might be easier to measure on the hub. I thought the inner ring of the nut would have been big enough for the calipers to fit in it. No, I won't be so lucky there either. I should have measured it before. There's pretty much 2 mil in each wind of thread. So that means that a quarter turn on the thread is half a mil. So one flat would therefore be about 35-ish, is it? So 0.35 mil or so. So I'll tighten, that'll be quite a good setting for it actually. Because the Land Rover one's 0.1 on the wheel bearing. So I can tighten this up so it's tight, so the bearing's tight, and then turn it back 1 flat. And then it'll be a pretty well set bearing at that. I got a piece of old threaded rod off the screener. Just make the bearing really tight. As tight as we can get with this big nut and socket. Pretty well there. It's turning, but every time I turn it, it moves grease out the way, so see if we can get a little bit more on it. So that's as bedded in as it'll go there now. And I can loosen it now. I'll loosen it 1 flat. So that one there comes to here. So it should be about 0.3 mil of play in it. And about that. Oh, there. Do that again, I didn't see where it was. I might mark the metal with a permanent marker. I'll put lines on it. A bit more accurate. So I tighten it back up, and that line there behind the red line I marked along the edge of the nut, you can see the pen line on there. So one flat is 0.335 mil of slop in the bearing. So from as tight as it'll go back, one flat to be 0.335. So I've gone, well, you can see halfway would be half a flat, so the spike in the middle would be 0.1675 mil, so 7.17 mil, and then the whole flat like that is 0.33. So if I come back to about there, she's about 0.2 mil play in the bearing. So I'll just have it there. It's as accurate as I can get set that bearing without having any settings or anything for it here with me. I might set it at 0.175 actually. I'll be alright there. Very good setting for it. There you go, pretty much on 0.17. There's the spike of the nut is pretty much halfway, so you can see the mark on that edge which used to line up with that. So 0.335 mil for one flat, half a flat, 0.17 pretty much, or 0.1675 if you want to be bang on accurate. And nearly 0.2 mil is not too tight and not too slack for that bearing, I wouldn't think. There's 0.1 for the Land Rover one. This bearing is a larger bearing, so there's more room for the tolerance of the bearing to be a little bit off in the manufacture of it. But also it turns a heck of a lot slower than the Land Rover one, so it should be alright at that setting really. I'd like to know how much the setting is supposed to be, if anyone's got the manual. If you just comment in the message in the comments what the setting is. I'd like to know. After marking these like this, if you tell me the setting, I can set this one to that setting, then I can just take the planetary off, turn that nut, and put it back. But then I'd be ruining the clench on the nut again. I need to hammer these in now, so that this nut does not move or come undone ever. I've got these circlips, but they're not quite the same size. They're a little bit smaller, but the old one seems swollen and open. One size up is bigger than that one, so it'll be way too loose. So I'll try these ones on here. I think they're pretty close to being the right size. Just remember to clench this nut now. So I put the tester on the knuckle here now. So on a good place there, that thing, we're measuring the play between here and this. I got it on 0. I'll try not to turn the hub. It's a bit difficult not to do, but I turned the damn thing. I got just over 0.2. .27. Pulling it back. So it pulls back to about there. So 0 is pretty much 0. So bang on 0.3 pretty much. I don't know if you saw that, I'll tell you again. So we got 0 as I pull towards me, and it's as far as I can get it, 0.31. So if you want less than that, I done it my way earlier measuring that. It was supposed to be 0.17 at that, but it's more than that. But the new seal will be giving me a bit of springiness against it as well, so I'll leave it at that. It's quite nice having it, so that's halfway, that is, between being fully tight and one flat, so bang on halfway. It's quite a good setting for it, really. I'm going 0.3. The one flat from the half a flat from tight, or a 1/12 of a turn, seems to be 0.31 mil. So I won't complain about that. It'll be pretty good setting for it. She's nice and tight, but we know she's got 0.3 mil of room to play backwards and forwards, so on a bearing that size would probably be pretty close to a good setting. I was saying the Land Rover one's about the same size as this here, so it'd be 0.1. These, the diameter nearly twice as much, so twice the amount of play is pretty much close to the same spec as the Land Rover one, and these are turning slower, so you can hear the bearing turning there now. I'll get the rest of it put together. I'll just use the same punches I've been doing everything else with, and just strike it inwards to clench the nuts in, or strike it in the tightening direction so it doesn't slacken. Down in the groove there pretty nicely. Won't dip it anymore. Won't make it impossible to take it off. It needs taking off ever. Do both sides. So again, I'm striking it in the, well, try to strike them pretty much square, but slightly to the tightening direction than to the slackening direction, on the need to be back together slack. You can see they're well dented up into the groove there now. There's that nuts can't come undone now. I'll strike it a little bit more, to be honest, just give it a little bit more of a hold. Done it till the nut stopped rocking. It's pretty well clenched in there now. Don't want to go too much. Some of them you can unclench them by just opening them. You just turn the big nut, but sometimes you need to hammer them out a little bit. If you hammer them too far in, you haven't got an edge to start on, so next time it would be pretty difficult to get it off. Just clean this water and dust and stuff out of the splines here now after using the big socket. And, blow in the bottom of the hole here. It should blow out the top, or blow it in the side here. Long way around players. That circlet's too small. Maybe one size up, one's too big, I'm sure. alright. It's starting to warp as I put it on though. Can have one much smaller go on than that. A little bit loose. The original ones. Put the circlip in the gear on. The gear's got a little bit of a chip on it actually. Should have changed that. Hey-o. It's the easiest part to change. Just take the plate off. I'll check it in a year's time. It's incredible how integral bits of engineering like this gear machined precisely is held in place by a little clip I could just flick off. Well, they don't. They're pretty reliable. Put some gasket on here now. Holland gasket. I'll just clean it with a rag first to get all the oiliness off. I got a tube of RTV silicone somewhere but I can't find it. What I do have is some of this guarnizione liquida al silicone. So, to quote Gwion who sold me this stuff. Gwion, motorbikes Gwion. It was good enough for Ducati. It was good enough for him. So, I'll be of the same mindset. I used it to put the Honda engine and gearbox back together. I haven't had any leaks in that thing, so. I don't know, it's gone old. It's supposed to mix in the tube and it seems to have started to separate. Might well be good enough for Ducati when it's new, but I'm going to use it like that. I can't find the silicone, so I'm going to use this blue non-setting gasket. It's probably actually better than silicone to use. It mixes with the oil, so it doesn't. The silicone stays as a hard and tough residue inside the, well, whatever you put it in, goes in a gearbox or whatever. This Hylosil, Hylomar, whatever you want to call it, non-setting gasket, doesn't, it mixes with the oil and you don't want to put it in injector pumps and stuff. It's the only things you don't want it on. It seems to work alright most of the time. Not as reliable maybe as the RTV silicone, but I'm putting it here on something that is quite easily taken off and resealed. So if this doesn't work, it does work. I use it on quite a lot of stuff. It always seems to hold up. Get a good layer of it on. You can put a little bit more of this stuff on than silicone really. You got the planetary here. Put them on. Oh well, got 2 dowels. I forgot about the dowels. No, wrong way around. Way around. I'll start the tractor. I can't turn the diff. Because he's in 2-wheel drive now, we will turn this. Nope. Turn it off. Locking compound on the bolts. 2 bolts and squeeze the gasket out. Or 3 or 4. Whatever pattern you prefer. Gotta go around till she the 4-wheel drive clutch engaged then. So the gaskets, you can see the gasket all the way around really. Pretty much. Should be good enough. Get all them in. So these are a 10mm bolt and those were a 12mm bolt. I was doing them to 110, so I'll do these to about 70-80% of that, so I'm doing these to 70 foot-pounds. The only reason I torque them, even though I don't know the torque setting, is so that they're all the same. So if they're all holding the same amount of force, all bolts everywhere, that's the reason you torque them pretty much anyway, to get them to a correct amount of tension. But they have to all be under the same tension for them to be doing a proper job. You can't have one on 100 and another one on 60 and another one on 70, and so you got like flange drive things or whatever. It's the friction holds them together. If you go one holding more and the other holding less, there's more strain on one than the other, and the one with more strain on it or more tension, it will be the first one to break. So yeah, 70 is pretty good on these ones. I just put this back, I had this back in place and just put it in and give it a bit of a slam down. I put a locking compound on the nut as well. It's an eye-lock nut, not a castle nut, so it was stiff to come off, so it will be stiff to go back on. It doesn't need an eye-lock, it's because the thread's stiff. I'm not sure if it crossed that, didn't it? Undo them until they pop onto the thread. I'm crooked to me. On a wreck, huh? I'll give the pin pressure wash as well. Got the pin and the spacers on the top and the bottom, and I got a spacer on the top and the bottom there, so that the ram isn't rubbing on the housing here. So it pivots like that then within the ball instead of fouling. She got new pins and bushes a couple of years ago. 2-3 years ago maybe. I'll just grease this pin up and whack it in now. The ram was a bit too far out, so I just went in the tractor with the tractor off to turn the steering wheel without her running. When she was running earlier, the oil pressure must be 1 or something inside the thing, or they have a little bit of pressure anyway probably. It just creeped out a bit, so it was fully extended. It's gone too far in now. I can actually pull it. Must be 1. Oh, bit of lunas must be a bit 1, isn't it? She drives well, not a problem. We might be able to suck from a return so he doesn't bring it. There you go, lining up now. I'll put some grease in the hole and on the pin. Yeah, that little bolt in there. Got Loctite on that one as well. Torque that one up to about 25 or something like that. And put a new circlip on it. Start with the pins flush in the end of the clip there, so we get more chance of getting it on. Look what I found. A bolt. It was in there. Should have looked a bit keener for it. It was a stupid place to put it in the first place, wasn't it? I cleaned the thread. I haven't put grease in there in case anyone's thinking I put grease in there. You don't want these to be turning inside that housing or where the housing is. It's going on a bit better now. Put the wire brush on it. 2 things this does. It stops it from unlocking, but it helps stop the thread from rusting up as well. So it kind of seals off the thread. That's going on a lot better now. I have to bring the wire brush on it. I'll use the ratchet until I can't go no further. The buggers to put on and off these sometimes. Put enough weight on this bar should be alright. Got my whole body weight on there now, it's still turning. Need a bigger bar. I took this off and cleaned it off with those oil and grease wiping wipes and inside the bar there, so perfectly clean now. It's really smooth and soft though. Needs to lock that tape up pretty good to get it tight. I've put a wire brush on these a bit more again and I can't really clean this out. It's my only problem. Do we? Try again. Alright, rammed it in and just giving it a couple of slaps down with that on the end of the track rod there, see if it'll lock in a bit better. Cleaner threads and dry bar in there and hammer it down. I'll put some weight on it again. So a lot of extras to give us a better chance of getting it to hold. Difficult to keep pressure on it. bloody hell. Not very so tight. Bring it onto the bar. Not easy to get off, though. So really tight with that. Oh damn, it's turned. I put the hydraulic puller on it to press down. It's not pushing too hard. Well, it is pushing immensely hard, much harder than I could press down with that bar. Not hard enough to wreck anything. It's started to twist the puller a little bit. And try and clean out the inside of the nut a little bit. I think there's too much worries of the nuts coming loose. There they go again, coming to save us all. Or something. Oh, bloody hell. Going on a lot better, yeah. Put more pressure on the puller. It's unbelievable how tight it's getting. I think I'm not to be damaged like that. Goes on a few more winds, it'll start getting a bit easier again. Oh yeah, I think it's getting easier now. But I'll pull the tractor over one or the other. Just put a new nut on. I haven't got a nut. I might have one if I had a look. Everything's turning again. Had an impact gun to go on and I'll just clean it off again. There's more dirt on the thread there now. I'll just keep trying it and cleaning it. I'll go on a bit further this time or? Yeah, she's about 2/3 of the way on now. hitting it fast so nut turns instead of the stud. It's getting a bit easier now. Through anyway. Yeah. I'll set the torque wrench to 200. I'll see if we got 200 on it. If it's more than 200, it's fine still, and it's good. This torque wrench doesn't go more than 200. 30 after 200. I done that little one that held the pin in on the top as well. I done that one to 30. I made it be pretty tight at 30. There you go. 200. 200 is a pretty good tension on that. Take that off now. A hydraulic puller makes life so easy. It's a faffing around. I was worried about it denting the top. I didn't want it to push that down and in. The thing charging the phone fell down. I didn't want it to clench the top of that down and in. So still here there's grease in it. I took the rubbers off when I put it on and filled the rubber up with grease and put it on. So I have a few years more grease in it. Put some oil in this now, wheel back on, and we're away. Just top it off with oil now. Not that I need to show you how to put oil in anything, but these gearbox things are a bit of a nuisance quite often and very irritating, so I just use a drenching gun, or this is a pour on gun. Find it a bit easier. About 20 squares should be full. I'm faffing around with pipes and stuff. And the oil's a bit cold, maybe a bit difficult, but keep going till the oil comes out of the hole there. This thing's the cleanest looking thing. I did give it a wash. Yeah. I'm going to show me doing that all the way. New jar of transmission oil. I thought I had a jar of it. There you go, it's coming out the hole there now. I'm going to put a little bit more in it than should be, but give it a chance to go around. I'll start it up and spin it around and then check the level. It's such a thin oil, the transmission oil should be perfectly level all the way through. But I'll just run it through around the bearings first. I gave it a couple of turns for oil to go around the bearings. Take the plug out again now. Yeah, it didn't go down any. We'll put another squirt in. There you go. just full of the lip there now. The last, I'm gonna put the wheel on and go feed the cattle now. I'm not gonna put the fender back on because the bracket's bent. I need to straighten that out. The last thing we want to see now is seepage coming out of there. It'll mean we put the seal in the wrong way, but that seal would work for a few hours the wrong way around anyway, but sometimes you put a new seal in and it doesn't quite bed in until it's turned around a bit, but sometimes you may have a bit of dust or dirt on the seal and it just cleans itself out by turning, so we've been pretty thorough keeping it clean here. I put the silicone spray on it, not any oil or grease. If we put oil or grease on them, the grease can, dust and dirt can walk through the grease, really fine particles, and just grind the hub down. So the silicone spray doesn't stick, it's more like water, rather than using PTFE or anything like anti-locking compound or whatever. But it's pretty good. I'll get the wheel on and I'll go feed the cattle. I'll also top up the axle because the axle's a bit low on oil now as well because of the pulling the shaft out and stuff. If you enjoyed the video or the series of videos, I'm going to divide it up into about 4 or 5 videos. So if you enjoyed that, I found it helpful, give it a like or whatever, a thumbs up. And if me doing that, because I didn't use a manual or anything to do that, I just looked at it and used knowledge that I have about building stuff to do that. So it's pretty good. I have a few people say that I did something wrong, but I don't think I did. Anyway, if you found it useful, if the video can help anyone out at all from a sticky situation, you know, people are struggling for money and stuff, and maybe a job like that cost you 1,500 quid to pay someone to do it, plus the parts will be a £2 job. But if I can save you 1,500 quid by taking you step by step through that like that, I'm glad to have helped someone out. I might be asking you guys out there for help sometime as well, so it works both ways. Thanks for watching.